as you stand here in your physical now and you reach for feelings, and let's, for just a moment, let's separate something that's happened. In other words, somebody didn't come and say something to you. Mm-hmm. Something didn't just happen. You're just being in a moment. You're just being the juncture of you and you in a moment. And let's say right now you feel bored. Bored. You feel bored. Just feel bored. Sort of just lethargic, disinterested, bored. So now, if you've decided to do what you're asking to do in your question, mm-hmm. then that awareness of that boredom is really key, because that means whatever it is I've been thinking really recently, in the last minute, right. What I've been pondering is off from the way Source sees mm-hmm. this moment. So I was thinking how I don't really like where I am, or I was thinking that it's sort of a dreary day, or I was thinking that I'm not really happy with this restaurant I'm eating in, or in other words, you can pinpoint every time the feeling with the thought that caused the alignment or not. So then, as we began today, rather than just accepting the feeling, you say, I'm going to be forward feeling. Okay. Because I haven't been forward feeling just now. I was taking it as it came. I was reactively feeling. I was responding. I wasn't proactively feeling. I wasn't deliberately feeling. I was responding. So now you say, I'm going to feel my way forward. And so feeling forward means I love the feeling of interest. I love feeling myself feel eager about things. I love the feeling of clicking. I love the feeling of resonance. I love the feeling of enthusiasm. I love the feeling of passion. I love the feeling of. So just now, you were forward feeling. Mm-hmm. Now let's say you're just having a moment, a reactive moment, because you weren't deliberately thinking, and you can't deliberately think every moment. In other words, it's just not normal. So you're having a reactive moment, and the reactive moment you feel anger. Mm-hmm. And you feel it, and you acknowledge that you feel anger, and then you acknowledge that the feeling of anger is because of a thought you were just thinking, and then you identify the thought you were thinking. And the thought you were thinking was, this person with whom I'm co-creating was not honoring the agreement that I thought we had in place. This person is self-interested and not keeping the agreement, not doing what we agreed. And I'm having a reactive, emotional response. But I want to be forward feeling. And when my awareness of that happened, I launched an equivalent solution. So I like the feeling of, now you're forward feeling, I like the feeling of co-creation working. I like the feeling of harmony. I love the feeling of respect. I love the feeling of things working out. I love the feeling of win-win. I love the feeling of cooperation. I love the feeling of communication. I love the feeling of mutual minds working together and coming up with even better ideas. I like the idea of benefit all the way around. Forward feeling. You see what we're getting at? So now you're having a moment. A reactive moment. A child just bounced through your campground with her little ponytail flying and her little shoes lighting up and a smile on her face, and your heart is just singing. You're having a reactive moment. And you stop and you think, I'm having a reactive moment. What am I reacting to? Well, I'm reacting to my thought of that joyful child. And now I want to be even more forward thinking. That child could bounce like that her whole life. All children of the world could feel that way. It is so exhilarating to see the richness of life. What an incredible planet we live on, where we have the benefit of this stability. What a magnificent campground this is, that keeps itself open and ready for business and beautiful. Look at the flowers and all of the fall decorations and all of the playground equipment and all of the things that just enhance the lives of these little kids. Look at the horseshoe throwing place, and look at the baseball diamond, and look at the duck pond, and look at this magnificent place that is so. And just milk it, just milk this moment. I love my life. I love my world. I love that child. I love my body. I love this moment. I love this life. I love my life. I love that child's life. I love that child's parents. I love that child's sister on that bicycle. I love that dog. I am. You see what we're getting at? In other words, you're just actively feeling forward, always feeling forward, receiving the benefit of the larger part of you that already went there and feels that way. But when you feel forward to it, you find it. In other words, you as humans, you're so naturally empathetic. But you're empathetic in all the wrong places. I feel for you, man. You're singing my song. You want to be forward feeling, you see. And as you're forward feeling, you come into alignment with who you are. You're accustomed to noticing what is in this reality that you call reality. I can see it. I can hear it. I have physical senses that define it. So I can easily define the problem. And when the solution shows up, I will easily be able to define the solution. I know what the cure to polio now is. But what we want you to understand is that there is a solution that precedes all manifestation that is, as far as we are concerned, as we stand over here in your vortex of creation, in your vibrational reality, there is a solution that is already here. And while you can't see it, you can know it. So what we are suggesting to you is that if you could just ratchet back a little bit your need to see your solutions, and you could be willing to look forward with your emotions to feel the solutions. I know the solution is there. We say, no matter what your question is, go to the vortex. Right. That's our answer for everything. Go to the vortex. Go to the vortex. Because in the vortex is the solution. In the vortex is the answer. In the vortex is you. And in the vortex you feel good. So go to the vortex. And so this question is, how? Right. How do I go to the vortex? And we say, well, the first thing has already been accomplished. If you accept the reality of this vibrational reality, if you accept the reality of it, and you are willing to understand yourself in relationship to it, then you can tell by the way you feel whether in any moment, which is where all your power is, right now. In other words, you wake up 7 hours later, and even though the clock said a different time than it did at the same time yesterday, it was still now. Right. Now. Even though you're awake and on the other side of the world they may be asleep, it's still now. Now is this juncture where you meet you. It's where the blending, better or not so good, the allowing of the blending or the resisting of the blending is happening. So if in this powerful now, you are aware of the existence of this vibrational reality, and because you are aware of how you feel, of your relationship to it, now you're on the path of deliberate creating. So now let's just back that up a little bit and say it in a more precise way. So this vibrational reality includes all that I've become. And me, the thinker who's asking these questions right now, is standing in some vibrational proximity to it. And I'm doing my best not to think of myself as the haver and the doer and the person and the personality and the relative to someone else. I'm doing my best to let my feeling of relativity be to who I've become in relationship or comparison to who I'm letting myself be right now. So I am keenly aware of the way I feel. Now, those are really good words. Keenly aware of the way I feel. So let's talk about some feelings you might be having. If I'm keenly aware of the way I feel, now my guidance system is alive, and now and only now my guidance system is perceived consciously by me. And now and only now do I have the ability to move in the direction of who I really am. So when you come to a gathering like this, we assume, we know, you come because you want to become more deliberate in your point of attraction. Because that's what creating is. Creating is attracting. Creating is adjusting your vibration for what it will attract. It's adjusting your point of attraction. It's not about getting good at identifying and going after. It's about getting good at identifying and practicing the vibration of wanted rather than not wanted. And the two work so well together because every time your life experience shows you something that you personally consider to be a problem, in precisely the same moment of your awareness of the problem, an equivalent solution is born. Some say, well, where is it? And we say, well, it's a vibrational solution. It's a thought. It's an energy. It's a vibration you can feel. It's something that you can know with your emotion that you may not be able to justify through your vision of how it is unfolding. So we've been playing with this for a while. We've been talking about this vortex of creation. And we've been telling you that when you have negative emotion, you're not in the vortex. And when you feel positive emotion, you are in the vortex. In other words, the better you feel, the more you are in vibrational sync with who you really are. So Esther's really been thinking about this every spare moment. She's been thinking about, Abraham says that this vortex of creation, where they stand and where the larger part of me is and where everything I want is, Abraham says that is present tense for them. But me in my physical form, who is used to looking for what's manifested that others can see, historically documented, pigeonholed and cataloged, I'm used to calling this present tense. But Abraham says this is past tense from their point of view. And so then Esther says, oh, I'm going to get my thoughts around this. I'm going to see what's in that vortex. So she began visualizing, trying to imagine it. And we said, Esther, if you will not try so hard to see what you cannot yet translate with your eyes, if you will feel it, if you will feel for it, rather than need to make it the physical reality that can be seen, feel for it. So how does that translate? Well, feel for the well-being of your physical body rather than the visual. That's all right. If you can see the visual, good for you. But if when you reach for the visual, you see what is, it's not helpful. When Esther awakened this morning, she was delighted that she had a whole extra hour. Ooh, the luxury of that. And she said to us, could you arrange one of those every day? How far off the calendar would we get if every day we just took an extra hour and never gave them back? Let's just every day take an extra hour. And we said to Esther, as she playfully laid there and contemplated the sweetness of an extra free hour to have her way with, we said, when you get into the vortex, you get a leverage of time that is far more than that extra hour that you are benefiting now. When you get into the vortex where you are a cooperative component to all of the other cooperative components, when your impulse to place that telephone call comes when the person is sitting there in the mindset to receive it in the way you want them to receive it, that's leverage. When your impulse to pull in your cords and get onto the highway in your big monster bus, when the impulse comes and you follow it and you enter the traffic as it flows rather than as it stalls, you have leverage of time. When you don't hesitate in the moment that would be the right moment and instead you move forward, when you have the gift of alignment, there is a time leverage that cannot be defined in your physical senses.